Hello. Welcome back to the Parrot Cast. This is actually one that kind of falls in line. We released one earlier that was from the vault of the Parrot Cast about certain documentaries that John and I had seen, liked, and wanted you guys to see. But it was recorded months and months ago. In fact, I think at the end we actually say that it was our 25th podcast. So, but it had never been released. So we had a bit of a technical difficulty this week. So anyways, get the fuck over it and enjoy or don't enjoy the Documentaries podcast. But this one is a new one, fresh off the press. We have a special guest with us. His name is Nick Vaky. You guys might actually know him. He's been on before. He's from the Butternut Deluxe Podcast. And he was such a great interview last time that we wanted to have him on. And we'll probably have him on again as well. But we wanted to touch on something that we actually didn't get a chance to talk about with him in our last, discussion/talk. So I guess without any further ado, here is Mr. Nick Vaky. So Nick.
Yeah, what's up?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right, you know?
Yeah?
Life is a wild ride.
Yeah, I couldn't notice you're wearing a Black Sabbath t-shirt. Are you a fucking Black Sabbath fan?
Black Sabbath singlet.
Yeah. Cut off sleeves.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Everybody got that wrong.
Yeah. Singlet. I thought you were gonna. What is that? A onesie?
Tank
Black,
top.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a onesie.
Something pretty.
I
naughty.
just discovered cut off sleeves pretty recently, and now I'm all about it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I like it. It's like it's almost like a basketball top in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
got a hood too.
It's like a
Does
Black
it really?
Sabbath
Yeah, it's got a
basketball
hood.
top with a hoodie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Represent
Cut off shoulders.
That's actually
hoodie.
pretty sexy. Yeah, I quite like that actually. Yeah, we should get that if we can.
Yeah.
If we've
You
got
should
a,
make
if we've got a camera around somewhere on the
Paracast
line.
cut off hoodies.
That's
Yeah.
actually not a bad idea.
That's exactly what we'll do when we take over the world.
Yeah, that's not
cut off hoodies.
It's
That's
not a bad idea. So, Nick, we wanted to have you on because in the last podcast we talked about wanting to talk about, for those of you who don't know Nick, or obviously some of you don't, he actually had cancer and you're in remission, is that correct?
Yep.
And we wanted to actually hear his story and talk about the process and kind of what he went through as that was happening. And then I think he's probably going to elaborate a little bit more on like how he was able to beat cancer.
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of touch on that, so tell us like how you found out, like what that was like, I guess, for you. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying.
Of course, I would imagine.
So I had back pain for about, I want to say, something around 3 months. 3 months of back pain, and it never seemed like a big deal. I always felt like.
How would you describe the pain?
It was very similar to if you were lifting weights and you just pulled your back. So it's very normal type of pain. Nothing that concerned me.
And like consistent.
Consistent,
all the time.
all the time, and it got progressively worse. So at a point, I was eating like 5 ibuprofens a day just to get through the day. So it got consistently to the point where it was pretty unbearable. And I went to the doctor constantly to check it out, and doctors just said, "Oh, you probably hurt your back," because it's an interesting thing that happens when you go to the doctor. You have an idea of what you think is going to be, and so you kind of volunteer information, and then I think it guides their diagnosis a little.
Right.
So I volunteered, I lift weights a lot. I've been starting to lift weights a lot, and the doctor kind of said, okay, that's probably what it is. You probably hurt your back lifting weights.
Right.
You need to just rest or whatever. So that went on for a while, and then one day I was hanging out with my friend, and I was eating food, just eating, and then all of a sudden got a terrible, terrible pain in my stomach. Went to the bathroom, thought like, oh, do I have like indigestion or something? But it was so debilitating I couldn't even walk. Basically, I had to go home, and I was just sleeping. I was actually supposed to go on a date with my now girlfriend. It was our first real date, and
Shout out.
I had to call her, and shout out to Sonia.
There you go.
I had to call her and cancel the date because I was in so much pain. And I just spent a couple days in bed, and I was walking on the street and going to get some yogurt or something because that was all I could eat. And I ran into, do you know Annie? She works at Hess. Shout out to Hess.
Oh yeah, I remember.
She saw me and she saw I was in a real bad way, and she said, "What are you doing? Like, go to the doctor. Like, what is wrong with you? Go to the emergency room." And I think part of the reason I hadn't gone to the doctor was because there's a mindset that starts in the U.S. where I didn't have health insurance in the U.S. I have it here.
Right.
But there's a mindset that I just had a mindset just never go to the doctor.
Right.
I just would never go to the doctor unless I had kind of time. I would put it off as long as possible, basically.
Right.
But you don't need to do that in Taiwan where there's, socialized medicine. You can just go to the doctor.
Right.
So I thought, you know what, I'm in a lot of pain. I should go to the doctor. And they again. So this is maybe, I don't know how many times I've gone to the doctor, but so again I go and they say, you have peritonitis, which is something to do with pancreatitis. So pancreas, you drink too much beer and you eat too much fatty food. The doctor's asking me, "Oh, you drink a lot of beer?" And I'm like, "No, I do not." Actually,
He straight up lied.
No, I'm serious. I don't drink a lot of beer.
No, you don't.
I never really drank a lot.
No.
I drink more. I would drink occasionally, but never a lot.
Yeah,
not to the point of, like somebody that would develop this kind of condition.
having
Right.
pancreatic problems.
Right.
Yeah. So he didn't believe me because I don't know. We live in Taiwan, and any foreigner in Taiwan, they just think you're just a lush. So
Right.
So
Exactly.
he didn't believe me.
Booze hound.
Yeah.
He was convinced that this is my problem. He said, just cut out alcohol, cut out red meat. He basically said that if you drink alcohol and you eat red meat again, you might die. And so I was like, okay, fine, that's not a big deal for me. So I cut it all out, and I felt great actually. For about a month, I started feeling a lot better, but I was still losing a lot of weight, like an alarming amount of weight. And then one day I woke up in the morning, had my morning coffee, and same exact pain that I had that before, just unbearable, couldn't even walk kind of pain. Went back to the hospital. Another doctor looked at my sheet and said, "Okay, we need to give you a CT scan." And this is what finally allowed them to find the tumor that I had, which was about the size of a grapefruit, which is crazy that they hadn't seen it before, because they had done x-rays, they had done ultrasounds, and they hadn't seen this tumor.
Right.
Which, according to the doctor, the size that it was probably growing in me for about 5 years.
Wow.
Fuck,
Yeah.
5
So
years.
Something like that.
it probably started whenever you were living back in Hawaii. Even.
At that point, I'd been in Taiwan for 5 years. So
So-
it probably started right when I got to Taiwan.
Whereabouts was it, or is it? Or?
It was in my peritoneal. God, these words are all so complicated.
Yeah.
Peritoneal
Rough
cavity. So it's
area.
basically like there's a section of like tissue that it's like a sac that holds all your organs. So it was like behind that.
Okay.
So it's
And-
but it was
right
in your
then.
back, correct?
It was in my back.
Near your spine.
Near my spine, connected, and then it spread into my vena cava. So a part of the tumor had grown into the vena cava and was actually obstructing the vena cava is like the main artery, I think, that goes down into your legs. So it was obstructing that too, which is pretty serious. So
Right.
I had to be on blood thinners. So they had to put me on blood thinners right away, and this is what made it so that they couldn't really do surgery right away, because in order to do surgery, they had to cut out a section of my vena cava, which is basically a main artery. Really, really, really difficult surgery to do.
Right.
So what kind of cancer is this?
So that brings us to the next part of this. So after they find the tumor, they know they find the tumor. They know it's cancer, based on the way that it looks. But they don't. So I'm in a hospital called McKay. They don't know what kind of cancer it is. They have to do tests. They do a biopsy on it, and the lab says that the lab can't figure out what kind of cancer it is, but the doctor thinks the doctor thinks that it's testicular cancer, but I don't have any tumor in my testicles. So there's no tumor there. So it's really strange. They don't understand where it came from, how the tumor got there. If there's no there's no evidence for them to trace it back to, and the lab can't figure it out. So there was about a 2-week period where I didn't. Basically, they told me I had cancer of an unknown origin. And if you go Google cancer of an unknown origin on, which I did, which is a bad idea. Whenever you have a problem, don't Google anything.
Aliens?
Yeah, exactly. So you Google cancer of an unknown origin, and you look at the survival rate for cancer of an unknown origin. It's I might be misremembering, but I believe it's 2% survival rate.
Yeah.
So it's not good because you can't really treat cancer if you don't know what kind of cancer it is, because all types of cancers have real different treatments, different chemotherapy regimes. Like it's very, very different.
Right.
So basically, there was like a 2-week period where the doctor's telling me, we can't figure out what kind of cancer you have, and I thought I was going to die.
Miscellaneous cancer.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, and they would be telling me like, oh, we're going to do a test to see if it's lymphoma, and so me and my mom had flown over, and me and my mom are like, please have lymphoma, because we just wanted to have something, anything.
Something to do with it.
But yeah, so we went through all of this, and then finally, actually my buddy, a couple people, my friend Jesse and my dad were here, just said we need to switch hospitals. And I had been not wanting to switch hospitals because I had been thinking, oh, I'm already here, I don't want to go through the hassle of changing, like they're doing all these tests, I don't want to start the process over. But it was a really bad way of thinking. I think anybody who goes through something like this, you should always just go see as many doctors as possible. Because as soon as I went to the other hospital, Sun Yat-sen Cancer Center, shout out to them, best cancer treatment in Taiwan in my opinion.
Also, quiet shout out to my guy.
Yeah, you should probably not go there. But yeah, so they diagnosed it immediately as testicular cancer, which is what it was. It was a rare case where one of two things could have happened. Either my tumor was so big that it drained the blood supply of the tumor, tumor of origin, which was in the testicles, so that it's non-existent anymore, or it's a rare type of testicular cancer where you basically have an extra embryo in your body, and that turns into malignant form of cancer. So yeah, actually, and a lot of people have these extra embryos, but most of the time they don't turn into cancer.
What are they for? Any idea?
The extra embryos?
Yeah.
So it's basically just like you could have had a twin brother. So when you were being born,
once upon a time when we were more like monkeyish.
Yeah. When you were single cells, life begins at inception.
Yes.
All right.
I don't want to go there,
Jesus.
but
we'll wait till you tell your story.
So when I killed this tumor, basically I killed life.
But when we were more like back in the day, apes or whatever, back in the primate time, it might have been a better chance, or might have been more favorable to be born a twin or be born twins.
Right.
Like evolution might have been more like twins are good.
Right. Oh yeah, maybe.
Now it's kind of like,
because look at litter of
hassle.
puppies or something like that. It's not just one puppy; it's a few.
Yeah, I guess you'd have a
whereas
couple.
humans, like we're generally pretty good about having one kid and it survives now. Whereas
like
maybe a million years ago, not
twins
so
is
much.
an insurance policy.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a tribe or a group probably would have favored the woman who were like more, having twins more regularly.
Exactly.
Kind of like sheep, etc.
Sorry, we kind of just
No. So anyway, they figured it out pretty quick, and then as soon as they figured it out, I had it. When you have testicular cancer, has a real high survival rate. Although I was already 3B, which is if you get into 4, you're fucked basically. But 3B is around 50 to 70% survival rate. So good, way better chances than I had before.
Right.
So and you have a treatment path. So basically, I just had to go into treatment after that.
It's pretty interesting. So we've all got latent malignant life inside of us.
Not everybody, but a lot of people.
People, yeah. Wow.
So
Scary.
So I know a little bit because I came to visit you a few times and stuff like that during your process. But you also went to the United States for treatment as well, correct?
So I did. So Taiwan's healthcare is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's they got me in right away. I did a BEP, which is a standard chemotherapy treatment for testicular cancer, and actually the Sun Yat-sen Cancer Center is one of the places where they helped develop that they did a clinical trial there to test out that regime, and it's one of that regime is the most effective way to treat testicular cancer. It's very, very successful. So they did that there for me, and that stopped the tumor from growing. It killed most of it, so it was essentially dead inside of me. All of my tumor, they test when you get testicular to test for testicular cancer. They test these things called tumor markers in your blood, and those all went down to a normal level. So everything was back to normal, but I still had the tumor in me, which was huge, and it was still in my veins, my vena cava, which made it so that the doctors here weren't comfortable doing the surgery because they didn't have like the tradition of surgery here. If it had just been a standard surgery where they remove the tumor, it's called a retroperitoneal lymph node dissection. They cut you open and they take out the tumor and they scoop out all the lymph nodes. They can do that. But because they have to also cut out a part of my vena cava, remove it and replace it with like a fake vena cava, then that's pretty advanced. Not very many places can do that.
That sounds extremely risky.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I went to a bunch of hospitals here, and there's one guy here who used to do this kind of surgery, and he's retiring, and he was basically saying, "No, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm retiring. I do not want this tough surgery. This is way too much stress."
So look, I'm betting about 500 right now on this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to stay good.
Yeah.
I want to retire my number.
Yes, that was exactly the vibe I got from that guy. And I didn't know what to do. And he said, "Look, you're an American. You should go back to America and do it." And my thinking goes back to this thinking of how am I going to pay for this? I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. This is crazy. And so I went back to Sun Yat-sen and I said, I don't know what to do. And they said, okay, well, we can do the surgery for you, but we don't have all the right tools, so we're going to have to do it this certain way, and it makes it way more riskier. And I told my parents about it, and they were like, fuck that shit.
Right.
Basically, he said he was going to he would clamp off the arteries and try and cut it out in the 2-minute window that he had. And that's 2 minutes. He has 2 minutes to remove this tumor and then get your blood flowing back again before you die.
Do some serious fucking electrical work in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
So it was really risky, and my mom and my dad were just not okay with that.
The interesting thing about surgeons, like when you actually like knock down into like surgeons, they sort of start to become kind of like mechanics / like electricians.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
Because they do work on the body, like just extremely technical. Like,
and they're all super arrogant too, because that guy was explaining the surgery, which is real risky, but he seemed like that was no thing. He was just saying, no, don't worry about it, I got this. And everybody, like the other doctors,
like changing
my
a tire.
oncologist was saying, this is you really need to think about this. This is extremely risky surgery. It's you really think about it. That doctor is great. He said he's never had anybody. He's never failed. But this is a special case.
Right.
So
it's kind of like boxing matches, eh? He's trying to like just promote and get like
he's Conor McGregor. He's the Conor McGregor of surgeries,
I can do this.
And you were Floyd Mayweather's tumor.
Yeah, my tumor was Floyd Mayweather.
He called you out. He called you out. He's like, I fucking want your tumor. I fucking want it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, hey, hold on a minute. Hold on. We got negotiations back in America here to get my tumor out.
Yeah.
Just relax.
Yeah. So my dad went into researching all the places in America to get this done. We looked at Indiana, which is the #1 spot. That place is very expensive though. and then we also, my dad's wife, my stepmother, she knew a guy who was on the board at NIH, which is National Institute of Health, and so they do research stuff. She showed that guy my case. They looked at it, and because testicular cancer is so often caught early, they don't get a lot of, they're called germ cell tumors. It's like the classification of cancer, germ cell. They don't get a lot of germ cell tumors that are as big as mine was. So they thought, yeah, you know what, we'll do this surgery for free.
Research purposes.
For research purposes, we get to keep your tumor, we get to research it because we don't get a lot of these tumors. So it's great. I got to go in there and do that. But just as a precaution, my dad signed me up for insurance, which you can do in the United States, which you could do in the United States, thanks to Obama, because I could get that insurance because of they can't preclude you for pre-existing conditions. They can't even ask if you have anything. So, that's something that's really important to me because, I'm here. I have insurance. I paid for insurance here, and think about that situation. You have insurance here. You paid for it. You're doing the thing you're supposed to do, but I'm still an American citizen. So if I need to go get surgery back in America, if I had done it before that law had come into effect, they could have just said no. Right. I would have maybe been okay because I got into the NIH protocol, so I would have been okay in that regard. But I wouldn't have been able to have insurance.
But like post-surgery care, you probably would have had to pay for.
Well, this is where the story gets even more interesting. So I go back and I'm getting all my tests, getting ready for the surgery there, and they say they tell me, okay, they're doing the blood test and my tumor markers are going back up again. When your tumor markers reach a certain point, they won't do the surgery. They'll make you do chemotherapy again because I think it has to do with risk. I'm not exactly sure why. So they didn't want to they were getting to the point. They kept getting to the point where they were saying, we don't know if we want to do this surgery on you. And I'm thinking, well, I need to get this thing out of me. Like, I don't want to do chemotherapy again and then do surgery. So they had to schedule the surgery really quick, but they didn't have any rooms in NIH. So what they did was the cardiologist who was going to do the portion where they removed the vein, he was at another hospital. They said, okay, we can put you in this other hospital. Now, had I not had insurance, I would have had to pay for that other hospital to get my surgery done. It's about maybe $60,000, something like that, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And maybe I would have done it. So it's not like saying that fact that I had insurance necessarily saved my life, but I look at it that way because I might not have wanted to go there and do that. I might have said, okay, I'll wait because I can't afford it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then maybe you would have had to have stayed here and do another round of chemo or something like that. Who knows?
I think whenever you're dealing with health, the luxury of not being able to have to think about, can I afford this, is extremely important because everything is about timing. You need to do these things right away. You can't wait and figure out, okay, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to do that?
Right.
Because the cancer in your body's not waiting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just growing.
It's relentless.
Yeah. And you need to do everything you can to stop it.
Right.
So it sort of sounds like with Taiwan, the Taiwan healthcare system, you kind of got a pretty good foundational care here, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of, because you kind of almost had an exceptional cancer, you also then got pretty great high-end care as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in a weird way, sort of kind of lucky.
Yeah, no, I would say so. I would say everywhere down the line, I ran into something where it could have gone real bad.
And can I say, so the tumor, like when he took it out, and when they took out the tumor, like, have they kind of kept it?
I don't know what they did with it. I imagine they cut it up and just did a bunch of tests.
Did you see it?
I did, yeah.
So you almost like
I have a picture of it.
You almost like adopted it or like gave it a home at like the National Institute of Health or whatever as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool,
so
right?
It's almost like a happy ending for everybody.
Even the tumor.
Yeah, even the tumor got out.
It got to be useful.
Yeah,
it served a purpose. Hopefully,
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, hopefully it helps some other people too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so thank you, Nick, for telling us your story.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty amazing.
yeah, it's
How
pretty
long
cool.
did that whole thing? How long? Like you said, it took 5 years to effectively diagnose it, or like it was. In your body
till I
growing
knew
for
what
5
it
years.
was, something like
How
that.
long did it take from like when you sort of started doing things here to like finishing up in America?
I found it they found out I was diagnosed in November. I started treatment in November of 2015.
Right.
Started treatment in 2014. Sorry,
Yeah.
2014. November 2014. Started treatment December 2014. I did treatment until I did chemotherapy until around February, so for 3 months. Then March, I flew back to America, did the surgery. Surgery early April, late April, and then I was in. It took me a really long time to recover from the surgery. Had a lot of complications, and so I didn't recover until around August of 2015. So
Yeah.
that's what, April,
So
May.
like 10 months sort of thing.
Yeah, I would say not quite. I was in treatment for not quite a year. Yeah. Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember you because I knew Nick before he had cancer, and before we've ever done a podcast, me and Nick are actually pretty good friends. We've known each other for quite a while.
Yeah, we worked together.
Yeah, we worked together and stuff.
Did
But
you guys live together?
yeah, we even lived together.
Yeah.
So we did live
Way
together.
back in the day.
Yeah, way back in the day. And anyways, like I definitely realized or remember like this being like a year-long process for Nick. Like it was.
Oh yeah.
And I remember immediately after him telling me that he had cancer, like everyone at our branch thought they had cancer too, because it had like these little like niggling
Dude.
like things. You're like, oh, my hip kind of hurts, and Nick didn't exaggerate anything. He's like, well, you should definitely go get that checked.
Yeah, no, I do that now all the time. My girlfriend probably hates me because anytime she has a problem, I'm like, we're going to the doctor. We're going to the doctor right now.
Holy shit, you've gone all Taiwanese. You've gone all native and gone like super doctor,
Yeah.
super chick.
So, would you say? So, I want to drill a little bit more into your. You got Obamacare.
Yeah.
Was it actually Obamacare, or was
Yes.
it a specific company?
That I don't know. I'm not, to be honest, I don't know all of the ins and outs of exactly how it works.
Mhm.
So, take my endorsement of it with a grain of salt because I'm not a healthcare like
Consultant.
policy
Right.
consultant.
Exactly.
I would just say this: I paid extra for good coverage, for as good coverage as I could get, which
Which
was
I'm sure it's probably a tiered system.
yeah, it's a tiered system or something, and it was around $200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It was, they couldn't ask any questions; they just had to give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was I will say this about it: it was very difficult to deal with the bureaucracy of getting it.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
And I believe a little bit of a conspiracy, and I don't blame this on the government creating the policy. I think that the insurance companies that are forced to do this
Mhm.
are really shady and upset about it, and so
Yeah.
they intentionally make it very difficult.
Mhm.
They don't want to have to do it,
Mhm.
and what happened to me was so I get this insurance, I have it for a few months, and then I have a surgery that's huge.
Drop the
Right.
monster.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And so
$60,000
Like-
bill.
I got immediately after my first bill comes in, I got dropped from my insurance for no reason.
Yeah, they were like.
I got dropped from my insurance for no reason and put on Medicaid. And in the notes, we called them up and said, "What the fuck? Why did you drop me?" And in the notes, they said, "You called in and canceled it." Now, that's complete utter bullshit because
Right.
I was in the hospital with a tube in my throat
Right.
and a tube in my nose. I couldn't use the phone. I was on like morphine and stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
So
like,
how did I
can
call
Can
in?
you cancel my coverage, please?
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm just in the middle of fucking.
I just got
trying to
surgery.
Can you
stay
cancel my
alive.
coverage, please?
Yeah. Can I be kicked out onto the
Yeah.
street, please?
Yeah.
I can't be fucked with this anymore.
Yeah.
That's
And so I physically couldn't use the phone. So how did I cancel it? So I said that to them, and they there's literally nothing they can do about it. So it's super easy to cancel, but they said, well, you canceled it. You canceled it. I can't put you back on it. You have to do this, this, and this to get yourself put back on it. And they make it a huge process to get it put back on. I went into the office when I could handle it, when I could walk and stuff again. I went in there with my cane and I had a bag of fluid attached to me, like draining the fluid out of myself. I looked pretty awful. I went in there and I talked to a woman. I wish I could remember her name because I want to give her a shout out. But she, she just some bureaucratic worker that worked there, and she has to deal with these people all the time. She's like an advocate person.
She's on the front lines.
Yeah. And she did everything she could to get my coverage back. And she dealt with all this stuff, all this bullshit, and she got my coverage back. And I had health insurance for that amount of time, and they even had to go back and pay for the months that they had canceled it because it had been wrongfully canceled or whatever.
Right.
So they went back and paid for the things that they did that they said they weren't covering in the period of time that I wasn't covered. So I think there's a lot of good to be had out of it if you can navigate the bullshit. But I understand why people don't like it because there's a lot of bullshit, and it's a huge problem. But I don't think it's not the fault of the insurance coverage. You don't want to throw that away.
It's the insidious side of private money, though, eh?
Right.
I mean, like somebody's bottom line's taking a hit when, you're under $200 coverage for a few months, and then it's like boom.
Yeah.
There's this fucking bill. Like nobody with money on the privately money bottom line accountable is going to be happy about it.
Yeah, and in a way I sort of abused the system because I hadn't been paying into it for a long time, and then I took from it. And so I took more than I gave. But to be fair to what I tried to do was I stayed on that health insurance even after I came back here. So I continued to pay into that for as long as I could afford it until it became clear to me, like, okay, I can't afford to pay health insurance in Taiwan and health insurance in America. Right. I'm not even using it. Right. So I canceled it eventually, but I stayed on the health insurance for as long as I could, almost out of just a respect to the system of saying, I owe this money and I owe this to put.
I know.
Yeah. So I tried my best to have it even out. I'm sure it didn't though. There's no way.
Well, I actually used to work in life insurance and know a little bit about it. Trust me, your money works out all in the wash. Like, there are millions of people paying premiums like you, and the reason they're paying premiums is for instances like you. The company is covered. Yeah. They were just upset that they had to pay a $60,000 bill, and you'd only been paying for 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
So that's what they were upset about. So
but to be totally honest, they probably still would have been upset if you'd been paying the fucking bills for 2 years.
That's the thing.
Exactly.
That's the private money side, which is the bullshit.
Because that was something that because I worked in the health, or I guess it wasn't health insurance because it was life insurance, but you still had to test people for pre-existing conditions. And
Back in the day.
It was before the Obama administration gave the Affordable Health Care Act, or made the Affordable Health Care Act, and you had to make people, you'd swab people's mouths and then send it to a health company, and they'd have to do all these like baseline checks, like making sure you didn't have cancer, you didn't have a pre-existing heart problem or any of these things, basically giving you a physical so that you could get health insurance at a certain premium. And it was all based upon age. So people our age, 30 years old, you got, it wasn't the cheapest you could get, but it wasn't expensive either, because we're
probably got 20.
a reasonable person lives to be about 80.
Right.
So they're like, well, health insurance to an 80-year term, I assume this guy's going to live out his term insurance, so we'll give him a base payment of $20 a month.
Lock it in. Yeah.
So, but
I feel private money or private insurance in the health system, I feel like it should be an add-on. We've already talked about that somewhere along the line in that liberalism one. I think we did. Right. Somehow we got onto that, but I don't think the pre-existing conditions that has to not be a factor, or if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's my biggest thing.
I think you're absolutely
cost
right.
just has to be built into premiums,
certainly,
and everybody just gets access. That's the key, is the access,
Certainly.
Again, healthcare, everyone's different. If you pay in for 40, 50 years, and then you just go out running one morning as a 70-year-old and drop dead of a heart attack. I mean, fuck, like, did you ever use your heart? Like, you just clip the ticket for 50 years off that guy?
You paid your cash, and then you're done.
It's just got to be there as the safety net.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, personally, I actually think the public health sector should be doing that first.
Right.
But then if you wanted to go maybe a little bit more added insurance on top of that.
I mean, the Taiwan system is great, in my opinion.
It really is.
And I don't even know. So
there's also private health insurance available here as well.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. You can get the public is available to everybody for a base fee. You pay into it, you get it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be denied.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also get private health insurance that's much, much better if you want it.
Exactly what I think should be the case.
Yep. Well, it's the same in the UK, I believe, as well, right?
And you know what they do here?
We have basically that as well, but we just don't ring fence like a public health part, if you know what I mean. Like, effectively, we have a tax rate plus our health insurance, or in fact, actually, most companies pay that health insurance.
So, like, along with your income tax, you also pay health insurance tax.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, if you're in New Zealand, you would get taxed a certain amount of money on your salary, and there will be something inside of it. There'll be a percentage inside of it that's going to go to the health system,
earmarked.
But you don't know it, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, you don't pay like 18% tax and then have a 2%.
Right. You just see you're paying a government
you
income
just pay
tax.
20% tax, or you just pay 25% tax, or whatever. So, like,
that's part of the problem.
Definitely, baseline level public health with no ability to turn you away is just mandatory, I think.
I think kind of
for a progressive society that cares about people. That if either you care that people live or die, or you don't.
Right. Certainly. Well, I think right now, probably for you, Nick, I'm refusing to say the name right now just because I don't really want to.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
the current
persons
administration
of interest.
Might change what the system actually is in the United States, but I think it remains to be seen what he actually is planning on changing. Because I think, like, the pre-existing condition clause that's written into that law,
extremely popular.
I think that's
I would say this.
That's definitely the way to go.
I would say this. Anybody, I don't care what political party you're on this issue, what you think of Obamacare, because as I said in my story, there's goods and there's bads to it. There's clearly things that are broken about it. It kind of fucked me over, but it also kind of saved me.
Right.
So the only part of it that I know needs to stay is that you cannot disqualify people for pre-existing conditions.
Right.
It's just something, that part of it needs to stay.
It has to stay.
I'll say a different name, Paul Ryan, who's sort of put in charge of reforming this whole business. He has said he's going to protect that provision, but he's going to protect it with something called high-risk pools. So a high-risk pool is basically more expensive health insurance that somebody who has a condition like mine would have to pay into. So I'm forced to pay a little bit extra. Okay, it doesn't sound that bad. Maybe it's fair because I'm going to be taking more from it. The problem with a high-risk pool is if you look into the fine print of the way they've been done in the past, they say that you cannot do something called I can't remember the exact term for it. But basically, you can't do what I did, which is once you have a condition, sign up for health insurance and then use it immediately. So
you kind of have to
pay into the system.
You can't do it. It has to be like done without intent or something. You know, like you kind of intentionally did what you did to save yourself, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but that in essence is. You can use that's kind of vague terminology to exclude anybody with a pre-existing condition because the whole point of getting insurance with a pre-existing condition is you're going to need to use it.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is the deal there with the pre-existing condition thing? How are you ever supposed to get health insurance? Are you supposed to like somehow get it when you're like 18 or something?
Yeah, this is exactly the point.
That's correct. Like that's
you're
what
just supposed to always have health insurance. But if you think about my situation or a situation of an expat living abroad, I'm getting insurance in this country. But if I want to move home and get insurance now, I've had cancer. How do I go home and get insurance now?
Right.
And that's just one situation. Maybe it's kind of a very specific situation. But you can think of a bunch of different situations like that. It's not like I'm trying to. I don't want to pay my health insurance. I'm trying to game the system or something.
Right.
And I feel.
But I think most people are entitled to affordable health care. Yeah. And for you, like, you had a legitimate healthcare concern and like you actually are cured of it now, but it still is a pre-existing condition that you have, and now returning home, it actually, like, healthcare doesn't seem like it would be cheap for you.
No,
like it's not.
I wanted to move home soon, but I won't be able to because I can't. I'm worried about what's going to happen with the health insurance situation.
From the outside, there, it almost seems like instead of having that high pull thing where you pay a higher premium, it almost seems like it should be more like maybe you pay a higher excess. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Go on.
Like, say the normal rate is $100 a month or whatever. Instead of you having to pay $200 a month because of your pre-existing condition, you just continue to pay $100 a month, like say Chad and I.
Yeah.
But when it comes to you potentially having to access it maybe 10, 20 years before us, maybe you pay a slightly higher excess before you can access the coverage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that way, like.
Well, you're gonna pay. Here's the thing: is you're gonna pay co-payments. So what they do in Taiwan, which is amazing, is when you get if you get a condition, a serious condition like cancer or something like that, all your payments go down because they see, okay, this person's going to be going to the doctor a lot. They're going to be paying things a lot. So let's make everything less expensive for them because they're gonna be paying more.
Yeah.
And so they're doing it. So they're trying to be like extra fair to somebody who gets sick. If you just do it in America, where you just say, okay, we have co-payments, which they still will have, the person who has cancer is still going to be paying. It's not like you're not paying money.
Right.
Getting cancer and having to pay, just because you have insurance doesn't mean you're okay. You still have to go to the doctor and pay these co-payments over and over. It's a huge financial burden.
Of course.
Even with that. And on top of that, you don't get to work.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
You don't have a job.
Like, you lost like
you're not making any income.
You lost a year of your income, basically.
I was extremely lucky because I had a job where I could work remotely. So I could still kind of work while I was doing chemotherapy, but your productivity goes way down.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Whereas had it been me or John, like, we would have been fucked.
You cannot. If you work with children, you cannot be anywhere around children when you're doing chemotherapy. You know, you can't go to work. It's way too dangerous. So there's a lot of situations where you just couldn't have a job, and so when you have I think this whole argument goes down to, what do you think the obligation is of a society to care for people?
Right.
Personally, I think that we have an obligation to care for people, because if you think about your family, if somebody in your family gets sick, what are you gonna do? You're gonna say, well, you got sick, it's not me, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out. I'm going to Taiwan.
So I think everybody can agree with that.
Nick, I feel like you should have a listen to our Soul Light podcast, where I expanded upon or looked a little bit at like the classical liberal versus the social liberal.
Okay. Which episode is this?
It's called
That's a good point.
It's
in there somewhere.
We're doing like it's a slow series, but we're doing a serious podcast where we're kind of examining different ideologies. And our first one was called a Soul Light Man is what it's called.
Okay.
But it's about social liberalism.
I'll check it out.
Social
I haven't heard
liberalism
this one
versus
yet.
classical liberalism.
Because I'm basically of that. My thing is basically, there's three key things that a government needs to do on top of what, say, a classical liberal would say. You'll find it out in the podcast if
All
you
right,
listen.
let's check it out. That's a good plug.
One of those key tenets is definitely like healthcare, like public healthcare, like access to public healthcare is fundamental.
Certainly. So I'm agreeing with everything that's happening, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Do it, please.
Probably just to kind of see the other side of I don't know.
Oh wait, I just have to finish one thing on my point because we got derailed. High risk pools are bullshit. Paul Ryan's an asshole. Okay, go on.
So, I guess kind of I was actually talking to someone that you podcast with, Triple P.
Yeah, so, shout out to Pat.
Yeah,
Butternut Deluxe Podcast.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Patrick. So he's halfway to Thailand right now. He's touching some ladyboy dick a bit, but anyways,
ladyboy trip.
Yep, absolutely.
Triple P, all right.
Yeah, Triple P. But I was talking to him actually about this in particular. One thing though that having privatized medicine in the United States does provide is we have the most advanced medical system in the world.
This is an interesting point.
We are able to provide extreme amounts of research and development because all of the money for healthcare is in the United States. But it's one of those things like, I think approaching it from a global standpoint, like by I guess removing some of the burden from people that are paying higher premiums in private insurance, and where it's kind of spread out over the group of Americans.
Yeah.
I think we would still be able to probably lead the way as well, because we already have a base for a private healthcare system, but there's no safety net, as John would say, that America needs to have.
So I don't know all the factors that led into us having the best healthcare system. And that's an argument that my friend Jesse made when I was talking about Taiwan healthcare is so great. He said, well, you need to go back to America and get the surgery that you needed. So don't you think that's a good proof that private healthcare is better? But who knows? I don't know if that's the case.
Nick, you just didn't take the Taiwanese fight. You didn't take the Taiwanese fight. That's all. You just went for the bigger, better money in America. You didn't take the Taiwanese doctor fight.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Could have been done.
I wanted a stronger competitor.
Taiwan wanted to make it work, but
yeah, we don't know. We never know. But no, I mean, there's no denying that the U.S. healthcare system is more advanced. They had a machine where they could reflow my blood while they did the surgery, so they didn't need to even worry about any of this.
Right.
And the cardiologist that did it he's a German guy, and he moved to America. He's that guy. I love that man. That guy's a hot shot. He's super nice guy, great surgeon. He's gotten awards for being the best cardiovascular surgeon in the world, a bunch of times.
Do you think that guy gets about 1,000 Christmas cards every year?
On his
probably.
Desk?
It's sir, mail's turned up. It's a big sack of
thanks for saving my life.
Yeah, thanks for saving my life.
Did you send him a Black Sabbath?
I haven't sent him. I was gonna send him. I was gonna send both the doctors an email on my birthday, but I had other stuff happen. So
I think we should definitely tank top hoodie, Parrot cast. Shout out to
Dr. Siegenthaler. Shout out to Dr. Siegenthaler. Yeah,
good
man.
Sounds like a mad scientist from the Nazi era.
He has a real thick German. He has a real thick German.
Got him out of West Berlin.
Well,
smuggled him out in the trunk.
Interesting point. I always hear, people say, "Oh, doctors hate Obamacare." Dr. Siegenthaler, hotshot cardiovascular surgeon, he was all about it. He was saying it's great. I can do these surgeries on people who could have never gotten it before.
Yeah, because he's got different morals, man.
He's a good person.
Yeah, just where he's coming from, and it's from Germany. There's a bit of a statement to make, but there's a bit of a moral compass difference there, if you know what I mean.
So I think that the reason that the American healthcare system is so good is because of the education system in the United States, and that maybe that there was a base set up. So maybe that private healthcare system set it so far, and then we got all these research facilities in there, and we have these institutions set up. So if you were to change it over to a more public system, I don't think that's going to go away right away.
No,
because doctors aren't going to come in.
Right.
Yeah.
I still don't want to come in.
There's an analogy in there in my head that's not quite there, but it's like public transport or something like that. It's kind of like America has a certain type of the best healthcare in the world, say for the best, most important high-end surgery and technology,
complicated things. Yeah.
So the real pinnacle shit.
Right.
Yeah, you guys are top.
Right.
But
most people
maybe
don't
don't
have
the public transport style kind of coverage on a day-to-day
exactly
or
right.
week-to-week level. So it's kind of who has the best healthcare? It really depends on
what your definition of what that is.
Yeah, it's how are you fucked in terms of your health, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just kind of state it that because I know there's these wars about the NHS in Britain is amazing, or Canadian health system's amazing, or no, America's health system's amazing. It's you know what? All three countries' health care systems are actually probably pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But it just depends who you are, or
what you need out of it.
Yeah, what you need out of it. You want to go climb the mountain of having some ridiculously intense cancer surgery. Fuck yeah, you probably want to be in America. But if you don't actually have that, and it's more mundane cancer, or it's not even cancer, it's just colds or some shit.
Right.
You're probably better in Britain or Canada,
or Taiwan.
Or Taiwan, yeah.
The doctors looked at the treatment I got, because the doctors write a plan, and they looked at the treatment I got. I think they thought I was from living in Thailand, and they were so they were really amazed. They were like, wow, they did everything perfectly.
They're like, fuck, you survived. made it through.
This treatment plan is exactly as it should be. They were very surprised by it. I'm like, well, it is like a pretty developed country.
Right, it's a first world country pretty much.
That reminds me, shout out to my dad. I actually got the Christmas card. It got sent to Thailand by mistake and it arrived.
Is that real?
Yeah.
You're serious?
It's on the thing. He did a good job. Dad, you did everything fine. I got your Christmas card. Thank you very much. But yeah, it detoured to Thailand for a month or something like that.
Shout out to Dad.
Shout out.
I can just see someone in Thailand, like they like circled Taiwan really big, sent it back to New Zealand. Thailand and Taiwan are two different countries.
They fucking
and then it got
purple stamped that bad boy and said like, fuck it, it's wrong place, whatever.
And then Joe in like sorting in New Zealand's like, bluey.
Blew out, all right.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What else we want to talk about, boys? Or are we done?
Well, I think we had a pretty good discussion of Nick's healthcare history event.
Yeah.
That was
Absolutely.
pretty good.
And we got a pretty good discussion about healthcare in general, I think, as well in there. So, really quickly though, Nick, do you want to give any advice to anyone that might be struggling with something that, like what you went through right now, that might listen to this?
Okay, a couple things.
Okay.
A couple things to cover, I think, about this. I think appreciate your family and your friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's the number one thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people. Something you realize when you go through something really serious is there's a lot of people that care about you, and you don't even know. And also you shouldn't feel bad for needing their help.
Mm-hmm.
Something I struggled with was I felt bad that all these people, all my friends, all my family were doing all these things for me, but I couldn't do anything for them. But it's not what it's about. It's about being your family and your friends love you and they want to take care of you, and you're giving them something too. You're giving them the ability to take care of you, and that's a good thing to give to somebody. So that's number one. Just appreciate people that are helping you and being around you and taking care of you. And then the number two thing is, it's kind of cheesy, but you will get where you need to go. So, I'm not going to say you're going to get better, because you might not. But you will get everything that you go through. You'll get through it in some way, shape, or form. And as morbid as it sounds, maybe you'll die. But dying is it's something that happens. Yeah. It's part of it. It's an ending. Right. You're moving on. I don't know what happens after, but things go the way they're going to go.
Right.
And so you shouldn't. You don't want to. You gotta have to appreciate all the moments in between where you're getting there. But you also got to remember when things are really bad, you're going to get through to another stage. There's something after, be it, even if you don't believe in the afterlife, be it whatever comes after, you go back into, I kind of believe you go back into the universe or whatever. So you go, there's things that are beyond, or you get better. And you get better. And I remember thinking when I was sick that I would never, after I was recovering from my surgery, it was really tough. And I remember thinking, this is never going to end. I don't know how I'm going to come back from this. You can't walk. You have to learn how to walk again. You have to learn how to take a shit again. All this stuff that's really tough. And you think to yourself, this is so hard. How am I going to get through this? Or you have a night where you're in the hospital and you have so much pain that you can't even deal with it. But you will get through it, and you can't. It's possible to overcome it. So I think if you have faith that that's true, then you can start to enjoy, because there's a lot of really hilarious things that happened to me while I was sick, and I look back on them now and I think, man, that was a good time in my life, even though it was fucking awful. But you have to just keep in mind that, okay, this is gonna pass.
Right.
Everything is gonna pass. So I think that's the right mindset to have.
Certainly. Thank you very much, Nick. That was ending on some inspiring notes. Definitely more inspiring than I think me and John have been in past podcasts. So we've we've definitely
Certainly more inspiring than you, Chad.
Yeah, certainly.
No,
So-
more inspiring than me too. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Fair play, Nick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's pretty personal, but
Yeah.
pretty awesome, man. That's
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So-
Also go to the doctor. Just go to the doctor.
just go to the doctor if you feel bad.
Yeah, just go to the fucking doctor.
So you got anything you want to plug before we hang up?
Yeah, I mean, Butternut Deluxe Podcast. You can
Yeah.
check it out on iTunes. You can like our Facebook page. It's very different than this kind of stuff. We just basically, it's a lot of fart jokes and
Dick
dick
jokes.
jokes, ladyboy jokes.
It's pretty lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's good though. So my personal favorite segment is is it the Amazing Race? Or
The
no,
Amazing
which
Race. The Amazing
which
Race. No, it's The Amazing
Yeah,
Race.
The Amazing Race. That's it.
Yeah,
So-
Amazing Race. We basically say a characteristic, and you have to guess what race most embodies
Embodies.
that characteristic. We have a lot of games like that. Other things to shout out to would be you can check out my webpage, nickvaky.com. I got some short films and stuff on there.
Nice. Yeah,
Nick, haven't you started some sort of fake news channel as well?
Yes, a fake news channel. I just started it today. It's called drseuss.truth.gov/nihilism.
Yeah, that's right. That is it. Yeah, that's right. I saw that. I like
Yeah, and we're talking about the Dr. Seuss massacre. Have you heard of this?
No.
it. I saw your little buddy.
Yeah, it's our president allegedly strangled 27 kittens to death in little tiny hats. He put little tiny hats on them and strangled them to death. Now this may or may not have happened.
With his hands. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. He has tiny hands, but the media hasn't covered it, which leads me to believe that it's true.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure that's the barometer for truth.
You heard it here first, folks.
That
Dr.
does sound
Seuss
like
massacre.
ABCD. Yeah, I think you've connected the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'd agree.
We'll go with this. We'll
Yeah.
link to it on our website
Yeah,
page.
we will. We'll link to the real news.
Yep.
Yes, real
news. Thank
Dr.
you.
Seuss massacre. Never forget.
Yep. Hashtag. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We'd like to thank Mark at Beer Geek. It is a fantastic establishment to drink and to be merry and to drink lots of delicious beer. So,
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
actually, Nick and I were drinking Kona Brewing Company.
Fire Rock Pale
Yeah,
Ale.
what were you drinking, Mr. John?
I was just having a stock standard lager.
Yeah,
It's-
which was
it's
the-
damn good. The
what-
Orion lager.
The
It's
Orion
good.
Lager. But there's lots of local beers here, and there's also quite a few imported beers that wherever you're from and you're in Taiwan, you might be able to find something that reminds you of home. So anyways, give it a shout out, give it a check. Also hit us up on Facebook or Twitter, or hit our new YouTube page. We've been putting up about we put up our last 5 or 6 podcasts, so you can find us there. Also, check us out on our webpage, which is theparrotcast.com. So until next time, we'll talk to you later, and take care of yourselves.